is Antifa, the violent, militant wing of the Democrat Party. No, that's just a bit all the way back.
Going back to the Weimar Republic in Germany.
Anti-fascism goes all the way back to ancient Rome, the inspiration for fascism. The empire who invented the fasces, its icon of power, wooden rods, leather straps. If you wanted to be conspiratorial, you could say that they represent the 5 masks that form the fascist identity. Mask number 1, the statist, who pledges complete loyalty to the emperor. For the emperor and the state became political leaders. It was precisely because their soldiers had sworn allegiance to their masters, not laws or principles. Mask number 3, the theocrat, who as the state also becomes the prophet of its religion. In Rome, the emperor was called Pontifex Maximus, the chief priest, the bridge between the gods and the human. In a theocracy, there is no real doctrine or scripture. There's not even heresy. All that matters is loyalty, which brings a nice warm feeling of protection and eternal salvation. Mask number 4 is the corporatist. The word corporation. Their economy was united as one body serving Rome, all conquests, all slaves in service to the emperor. And mask number 5, the ethno-nationalist. One blood, one language, one soil, one glorious, usually entirely fabricated history, one people, one empire, one leader, all bound by force. One force against the world. And so, probably the most famous founder of Antifa would be the main character of the most widely read parable in the world of the story of Jesus Christ, a guy who rejected Rome's divine authority, breaking the first mask, who called peacemakers blessed, demanded mercy over domination, breaking the second mask, and where Rome exalted the state, he said the greatest authority was within, breaking the third mask, and preached that a human being cannot serve both the highest good and money, and demanded all debts be forgiven, smashing the fourth mask. And finally, to the caste system of empire, he said, quote, "There is neither Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, male nor female, for you are all one, and so treat thy neighbor as thyself. There is no greater commandment than this," smashing the fifth and final mask. Unifying the diversity of the people in the common good to feed the hungry, house the homeless, heal the sick. And that was what they used to call the gospel. Actually, you could trace Antifa back a little further to Socrates, the Greek founder of so-called Western civilization and science, who also questioned generals, priests, and politicians in public. Of course, he was executed for it. Who else was Antifa? Oh, the colonial revolt against King George, the abolitionist revolts against the colonists, that guy Gandhi. But when did people start actually calling themselves Antifa or anti-fascist? Well, that started when Mussolini created these boys' clubs for boys that weren't so proud. Not very proud boys. Doing another revisionist history, mythologizing a glorious ancient Rome and using that fasces as the branding for his young men's militias of the nation against red chaos. Winning support from industrialists and landowners who want nothing more than to see a broad coalition of working people crushed by any means necessary. So Germans seeing this immediately started using that same word to describe similar nationalist groups rising in their midst. Late 1920s, Hitler's Nazi party was now known across Europe as German fascism. And that's where Antifa Action sprung up, founded in 1932 to defend working people and minorities against Nazi violence. Of course, they were immediately declared a terrorist organization. Its members were imprisoned and executed by Hitler's regime. And what happened next was only 86 years ago. The German fascists invaded Poland, and its fascist allies, Italy and Japan and many others, went to war against the anti-fascists. Britain, France, the Soviet Union, the United States, and China, and many others. By the end of that horrific war, 3% of the population of planet Earth were killed, mostly civilians. It was the worst violence in recorded history and was the ultimate failure of extreme nationalism. Albert Einstein said that nationalism is an infantile disease. It is the measles of mankind. All the classical philosophers, John Locke, James Mill, Hayek, Karl Popper, all said nationalism was irrational tribalism. It was philosophical poverty, incoherent. George Orwell, the author of 1984, wrote that nationalism is not love of one's country, it's the will to dominate others in its name. The great philosopher Camus saw it as the death of conscience and said, "I love my country too much to be a nationalist." The inventor of game theory, John von Neumann, repeated again and again, unchecked national competition leads inevitably to war. In a connected world, cooperation is the only winning strategy. And that was the purpose of a United Nations and the drafting of a Universal Declaration of Human Rights, presided over by Eleanor Roosevelt, who was decidedly anti-fascist, as was her husband. And every great thinker, writer, and leader, from James Baldwin to Mark Twain, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Toni Morrison, Thoreau, Nelson Mandela, Cesar Chavez, Mother Teresa, Dr. Martin Luther King, Shakespeare, Buddha, Moses, Hillel, Muhammad, Rumi, Confucius, Plato, literally everybody worth talking about. To be anti-fascist is to be human. It has no political leader because its state is within. It is to be conscious and individual, connected to the world as one family, alive and free.